When my wife sat me down and asked for a friendly divorce, I knew exactly what that meant. When a woman uses the word friendly in the same sentence as divorce, she's not being kind. She's being strategic. It's not about peace or maturity. It's about keeping you emotionally tethered while she explores new options. The whole conversation was rehearsed. She wore that carefully curated concern expression, spoke about growing apart, about needing space to find herself. But she kept repeating how much she still cared and how important it was that we remain friends. That was the giveaway. The red flags were everywhere. As I sat there, listening to her speech, I almost laughed. Women don't ask for divorce when they're happy in their marriage. They ask when they've already detached, when there's someone else waiting in the wings, or when they want the freedom to try without feeling the sting of guilt. The word friendly just meant she hoped I'd stay on standby in case her next chapter didn't go as planned. But instead of reacting how she expected, arguing, bargaining, pleading, I surprised her. I looked her in the eye and said, "All right, let's do it." The color drained from her face. She hadn't expected that kind of composure. Suddenly, she was second-guessing herself. "Wait, don't you want to talk about this more? Maybe we should try counseling first." But I was already emotionally done. If she wanted out, she was getting it. No drama, no begging, no making myself small to fix what she'd already decided to throw away. The following weeks were strange. We were going through the divorce process, but she kept trying to insert herself into my life. Texts about random things, suggestions to grab coffee, offers to help me find a new place. I stayed polite but distant. My replies were short and centered only on what was necessary for divorce. The part that seemed to bother her most was how unfazed I was. She'd fish for a reaction. "You seem really okay with all this," but I gave her nothing. Her request for a friendly divorce told me everything. She wanted to keep emotional access to me while having total freedom to do whatever she wanted. That's not friendship. That's manipulation. When the papers were finally signed, she looked at me like she was waiting for some kind of breakdown or a last-minute plea. But I just signed, shook hands with the lawyer, and walked out. 6 weeks, start to finish. Clean, efficient, friendly, at least on paper. But my version of friendly didn't include keeping in touch with someone who clearly didn't value our marriage. 2 weeks after the divorce, I decided to move on. While she posted cryptic updates on social media about new beginnings and finding herself, I was focused on something real. There was a woman in our wider social circle, someone who had always seemed genuinely thoughtful. She was technically one of my ex-wife's friends, but she and I had always had good conversations at gatherings. During my marriage, I noticed she actually listened. She'd ask follow-up questions about my work and remembered little things I'd said in passing. She paid attention in ways my wife never did. A week after the divorce finalized, I sent her a simple text. "Want to grab coffee sometime?" Her response was fast and enthusiastic. When we met, the conversation was effortless. She asked how I was doing, and I told her the truth. I was better than expected. She nodded, then said something that stopped me. "Honestly, I always thought you deserved better. She never really appreciated you." That hit me. She had seen what I'd been living through from the outside. She explained how she'd watched my ex dismiss me in conversations and flirt with other men, even when I was standing nearby. Coffee turned into dinner, and dinners turned into long conversations that stretched late into the night. She was everything my ex wasn't: present, interested, grounded. She didn't want something from me. She just wanted me. Meanwhile, my phone kept buzzing. My ex-wife's texts were constant. Little messages like, "How are you doing?" or "This reminded me of you," or "We should catch up soon." She was trying to maintain some kind of emotional connection, still pretending the divorce was this cooperative little transition, instead of what it really was, a reset button for her life. I kept my replies short. No encouragement. No emotion. One day, the woman I was seeing mentioned something. My ex-wife had started asking mutual friends what I was up to. She was frustrated I wasn't keeping her in the loop. That's when I realized it. She was panicking. The friendly divorce was supposed to leave the door open, but I'd already walked through it and closed it behind me. The woman I was seeing had no interest in playing games. She'd seen my ex-wife's behavior during the marriage and wasn't surprised by any of it. She also made it clear she wouldn't hide our relationship to make anyone comfortable. By the end of the month, we were serious. She spent most nights at my place. And honestly, it felt more like home than the house ever had before. She cooked without being asked. She remembered things I said. She was happy to see me at the end of the day, not because she needed something, but because she simply wanted to be with me. We decided to stop hiding our relationship. We weren't doing anything wrong. We were both single, both adults, and both choosing each other freely. Our first public appearance was at a local restaurant where we knew people would talk. She looked incredible, confident, and happy to be with me. We held hands, sat close, and didn't pretend to be anything other than what we were, a couple. Word got out quickly. The next day, messages poured in. Most people were supportive, but some were tense. Apparently, my ex-wife had been telling people we were still working through things and staying close. That's when I found out she hadn't exactly been soul-searching during our separation. Mutual friends told me she'd been seen with at least 3 different men, including one who'd been sniffing around while we were still married. It all made sense then. The friendly divorce was never about peace. It was about convenience. She wanted to see if the grass was greener, without cutting ties completely. But when I walked away, she lost that safety net. And now I had something real. Something she never gave me. Mutual respect, emotional investment, and someone who actually chose me. Turns out, I wasn't the one who needed a backup plan. I just needed clarity. And the moment she asked for a friendly divorce, she gave it to me. When my wife sat me down and asked for a friendly divorce, I knew exactly what that meant. When a woman uses the word friendly in the same sentence as divorce, she's not being kind. She's being strategic. She wanted the freedom to explore her options without the guilt of cheating, while still keeping me around in case none of those options worked out. Classic, have your cake and eat it too. When my new girlfriend heard about all this, she just shook her head and laughed. I could have told you that's what she was doing, she said. She was always like that. Wanted attention from every guy, but never wanted to commit to any of them. The difference in this new relationship was striking. With my ex-wife, I always felt like I was competing, like I had to earn her attention, her affection, even her respect. But with this woman, I felt chosen. There was no game, no manipulation. She made it clear she wanted to be with me, not because I was convenient, but because she truly valued what we had. We started showing up together at social events. She introduced me proudly to her friends, and I did the same. No hesitation. No awkward explanations. No apologies. Meanwhile, my ex-wife's texts started coming in more often, more pointed. She started asking direct questions, where I was, who I was with, and when I didn't offer details, she tried another angle. I heard you were at that new restaurant downtown. How was it? Fishing. Always fishing. I stuck to short, polite replies, but I could feel her frustration growing. This wasn't how her friendly divorce was supposed to go. I wasn't supposed to move on. I wasn't supposed to be happy without her. The woman I was with saw it all for what it was. She'd been watching my ex-wife for years. She wasn't intimidated. If anything, she found it amusing, my ex's barely concealed panic at losing control of the narrative. By the end of the week, everyone in our circle knew. There was no more wondering. We were a couple. We were happy. And we weren't hiding from anyone, especially not her. The moment of truth came at a birthday party. I knew my ex-wife would be there. I wasn't going to adjust my life around her anymore. We walked in together. Her face changed instantly. Shock, then anger, then confusion, then that fake smile she used to wear when she was scheming. We made our rounds. My girlfriend was calm, charming, and completely at ease. She didn't try to show off or stir the pot. She was just herself. But my ex-wife couldn't help herself. She hovered. She kept finding reasons to be near us, insert herself into conversations, laughing a little too loud, trying to make herself the center of attention. An hour in, she approached us mid-conversation. She launched into some long-winded story about work, clearly trying to draw focus. My girlfriend handled it with grace, polite, attentive, but not indulgent. She gave nothing away. Then came the fake niceties. It's so nice to see you both here together, she said sweetly. You look really happy. The implication was clear. This won't last. I replied calmly. Thanks. We are. Short, direct, no opening. She kept circling, joining every group we were part of, inserting herself, making herself visible, like she couldn't stand being irrelevant. Then came the restroom moment. My girlfriend stepped away and my ex saw her chance. She swooped in. This is interesting, she said, failing to sound casual. I didn't expect to see you two here together. Why wouldn't we be? I asked. We're dating. She blinked. I just thought maybe you'd give me a heads up, since we agreed to stay friends. That's when it hit me. She still thought she had some say in my life. I don't need to give you updates, I said. We're divorced. Remember? Before she could answer, my girlfriend returned and rejoined us seamlessly. My ex-wife's frustration was written all over her face. She had hoped for awkwardness, for drama. Instead, she was the outsider. The rest of the night played out the same. Her hovering, our calm, her desperation growing. 2 weeks later, the explosion came. Another party, this time a casual backyard barbecue. We arrived together, relaxed and in sync. My ex showed up late. From the moment she walked in, she was visibly agitated. She drank more. She glared more. Every compliment directed toward my girlfriend made her jaw clench a little tighter. Then came the moment. We were by the pool, laughing with friends. I had my arm around my girlfriend's waist. A natural moment. Real affection. My ex stormed over, voice raised. This is ridiculous, she snapped. Conversations around us stopped. You two think this is appropriate? She demanded, flaunting this relationship like some kind of victory lap. I stayed calm. What exactly is inappropriate about two single adults dating? That set her off. Single? We just got divorced, and you immediately run off with one of my friends. How is that not a betrayal of everything we agreed on? My girlfriend stood beside me silently, letting me lead. We agreed on a friendly divorce. I said, you wanted your freedom. I gave it to you. That freedom applies to me too. But we were supposed to remain friends, she practically shouted. I paused, let her words echo. Then I dropped the truth I've been holding back. Friends don't ask for a divorce, so they can explore their options while keeping their ex as a safety net. Her face froze. You wanted to do whatever you wanted with whoever you wanted. Congratulations. You got it. Silence. People around us started connecting dots, seeing her motives. That's not, I never said, she stammered. You didn't need to, I said. Your actions over the past month made it clear. You've been out with multiple guys while texting me about friendship. That's not friendship. That's hedging bets. My girlfriend gave my hand a small squeeze. My ex looked around, hoping anyone, would come to her defense. But the crowd was quiet. This isn't over, she hissed, pointing at me. I looked her in the eye. Actually, it is. You ended it when you asked for the divorce. Everything that's happened since it's been your choice. Own it. She stormed out without saying goodbye. And just like that, the illusion she tried to maintain unraveled in front of everyone. The murmurs were already starting. By tomorrow, everyone in our social circle would know exactly what had happened and why. The day after the barbecue incident, I made a series of decisions that permanently closed the door on my past. My ex-wife's public meltdown had shown me exactly who she really was, and I was done pretending her version of friendship was worth maintaining. First, I blocked her number and all her social media accounts. No more random texts pretending to check in or fishing for updates about my life. If she had something truly necessary to say, she could go through my lawyer. Then I went through my contacts and removed anyone who'd been playing both sides. A few mutual friends had been feeding her information while pretending to support me. They thought they were being neutral, but they were really just enabling her manipulation. My girlfriend supported every decision I made. She had watched everything unfold and knew that keeping any connection to my ex-wife would be toxic for us and for my own peace of mind. Within a week, my phone was quieter than it had been in years. No more desperate messages. No more updates from people about what she was up to. The silence was peaceful, freeing. But the biggest decision came when my girlfriend and I started discussing relocating. She had been offered promotion in another state, and the idea of starting fresh somewhere new was appealing to both of us. We'd been together for almost 2 months by then, and it was no longer just dating. It felt like we were building something real, something stable, something my old life simply couldn't offer. Moving 3 states away would create the distance we needed from all the baggage. 2 weeks before the move, I bumped into one of our old mutual friends at the grocery store. He looked uncomfortable, but eventually told me that my ex-wife had been asking around, trying to figure out if I was really leaving town. Apparently, she had finally realized that her safety net, me, was disappearing for good. The so-called friendly divorce had completely backfired. Instead of keeping me on standby while she explored her options, she had pushed me towards someone who actually saw my worth. He also mentioned she'd been struggling in the dating world. Turns out, guys who pursue a freshly divorced woman aren't usually in it for something serious. She was starting to learn that the grass isn't always greener. I listened without reacting. Her problems weren't mine anymore. I had no desire to be pulled back into caring about her choices. Moving day came faster than expected. We'd found a great place in the new city, and both of us were excited about what lay ahead. As I loaded the final box into the truck, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, genuine excitement for the future. 3 months after my ex-wife had asked for a friendly divorce, I was starting a new chapter with someone who had shown she wanted to be a part of my life, not just use me as a fallback. The lesson was simple. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. My ex-wife had chosen her freedom over our marriage, and I had given her exactly what she asked for. That she didn't like the consequences? That was her problem, not mine. As we hit the road toward our new beginning, my girlfriend reached over and took my hand. "Any regrets?" she asked with a smile. I looked at her, then at the road ahead, and gave her the only answer I could. Not a single one. Our story ends here. If you've made it this far, consider subscribing to the channel. It helps us more than you know. I've picked 2 other stories you might enjoy. Click on whichever speaks to you. I'll see you in the next one.